The Kingfisher oil fields development has evolved, reaching some significant milestones after CNOOC Uganda Limited and its joint venture partners signed the final investment decision. Land for the construction of different facilities was acquired and compensation was fully made. Cash and inject-affected persons construction commenced for different aspects of the project, leading to the development of facilities such as the camps, well pads, the central processing facility, and feeder lines, followed by the delivery of the rigs and installation. Spudding was done in January 2023. There have been promising drilling outcomes, with 7 wells drilled in pads 2 and 3. Other noticeable activities include a base station and permanent camp, solar turbine transportation, EPC 3-tank erection work, and EPC 4 pipeline trenching. CNOOC will actively promote the LPG integration plan, which will gradually achieve the strategic transformation towards a green and low-carbon energy supplier. A camp integrated hydropower project has been set up, which will result in carbon dioxide emission reduction by 3,156 tons. CNOOC has continued to contribute to the Belt and Road people-to-people exchanges for mankind. CNOOC collaborates with various Ugandan universities to enhance graduate employment curriculum design and research. We have signed agreements with several institutions to support scientific research and develop talents in the oil and gas sector. CNOOC in collaboration with 5 other Chinese companies on their school. This is the largest donation to education in Uganda.
Kingfisher oil fields for your commitment to the cause of vulnerable and challenged children.
CNOOC sponsors international scholarships, sending Ugandan students to study in China. Under this program, a total of 11 students have been sponsored and 8 have since graduated and are currently working in the oil and gas industry. CNOOC focuses on training and certification programs for skills needed in the oil and gas industry, which promotes local employment and strengthens Uganda's logistics and industrial capacity. Over 150 contractors and more than 3,000 individuals have been trained in various oil and gas skills. The company collaborates with local vocational schools to provide welder training, significantly contributing to Uganda's professional welding sector.
They took the initiative to sponsor us who are underdogs and they want to put us somewhere. We thank them a lot. There's nothing much we can give them, but maybe use the skills properly so that they can also feel they have done some impact in the Uganda we have now.
CNOOC Youth Employment Support Program has trained over 350 local youths in various vocational skills, improving their employability and living conditions. These trainings cover welding, heavy truck driving, heavy machinery operation, engineering construction, and other skills needed in the oil and gas field development, as well as driving, tailoring, and hairdressing, among others. CNOOC invests in projects to improve community living standards, such as providing clean drinking water to over 13,000 residents in Buhuka flats, carrying out medical camps and building resettlement houses with modern amenities for 56 households. We have also invested $620,000 in maintaining critical roads and enhancing public safety. Livelihood restoration programs include donating livestock and teaching scientific breeding methods. We also work closely with the Confucius Institute of Makerere University, supporting events like the Chinese Bridge Competition and the Sound in My Heart Chinese Song Competition. CNOOC also organizes activities to celebrate Chinese culture, such as the Spring Festival. These efforts enrich cultural communication and foster mutual understanding between China and Uganda.
CNOOC
This is day 4 of our training, and as I told you earlier, we shall be having this training for the next 5 to 6 days. We have very many doctors still coming here learning, and we have very many train you people out there. I know very many of you are already online. Please keep sharing is out there. Share the link. The reason that's why we are here is because we want very many people to follow, learn, and understand how they are supposed to be doing business. Here today is a lady, a beautiful lady, as many have been saying so. She's a beautiful lady. She's called Mrs. Wanyana Lydia Magezi. If you hear that third name, that means she's a married woman. She will be here taking us through quite a lot about procurement. Do you know about procurement? Do you know how you as an SME you're supposed to procure? Do you have a procurement officer, or you just do things your own way? So that is what we will be learning about today. I just request that you invite as many friends as possible so that they log in and follow the training. I'll be following and seeing who is on, because we really want very many of you. When you are already there following us, please send in your comment, send in your appreciation, invite as many friends as possible, because we want to see you learning. We want to see you learning. This was sponsored by CNOOC because they wanted you to learn and be part of the sector, oil and gas sector. Do business with everyone in the oil and gas sector, but you have to do business when you know each and everything that you are required of. So immediately, let me turn to Mrs. Lydia Wanyana. She says hello to you, and maybe before she continues, she will tell us briefly her experience, because she's a lady that has been in this field for the last 15 years, and she has some good experience. She has worked with very many reputable agencies. So I welcome you, Mrs. Wanyana Lydia. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much, Michael, for having me on the show. Yes, as you have been told, I'm Wanyana Lydia Magezi. I'm a procurement consultant. I've been around for those that we have met. Currently, I work with the Uganda Human Rights Commission as a procurement specialist. I have worked with other government parastatals like Ministry of Health. I've worked in Opportunity Bank. I'm a member of the Chartered Institute of Procurement and Supply, UK, and I'm glad to be here.
You are welcome, Mrs. Wanyana Lydia. Straight away, let's start with our topic today, procurement, because our audience out there is already eager to hear from you and learn about procurement. So we can start straight away with our topic.
Thank you very much, Michael, for the opportunity once again. And before we dive into procurement, I would love this development that is going on. I would love to appreciate Vectra Energies for taking us on board as consultants to showcase our experience and expertise. The question maybe for today is, why enterprises? Most of us know that as Ugandans, statistics have showed that most businesses do not thrive after 3 years, despite the fact that there are many businesses that come up every day. It shows that as Ugandans, we are a very enterprising nation. However, we lack the structure to maintain these businesses and the organizations. And so CNOOC Uganda is giving us an opportunity on how better we can develop our structures, how we can organize ourselves to be competitive, but to better ourselves and have opportunities. As CNOOC Uganda and as a nation, we have so many opportunities, and they are telling us the opportunities are here. So thank you very much, CNOOC Uganda. Thank you very much, Vectra Energies. Thank you very much, the Republic of Uganda, for wanting to better us as a nation. As we dive in, the reason why we are talking about bidding, because bidding is part of procurement. And we are asking ourselves, why procurement? Procurement is a process of acquiring goods and services in a more formalized way. We know everyone, literally, it is part of our lives. It's part of our everyday being, to buy services, to buy goods, be it shoes. Let us look at the list of the smallest example. we do transact. But why we bring in procurement is to try and do it in a more professional way, in a more formalized way. And this is basically for organizations. And now that we are dealing with the oil and gas sector, we need to be more structured and be more organized. That's why we don't just wake up as organizations and just go out in the market and buy maybe iron sheets and buy maybe goods and services that we may need in the organization. But we use the procurement process to help us in a structured way. As the oil and gas sector, most of the companies will require that you go through the procurement process. And there are different ways in which organizations do their procurements. However, because most of the organizations that are in this sector of oil and gas, you should be registered on the National Supplier Database. And the National Supplier Database is regulated by the government of Uganda. And under government of Uganda, we use the public procurement regulations in soliciting for service providers that are able to give us quality goods. So in most of the examples that we shall be giving today, shall be majorly centering on procurement rules that are governed by public procurement under the PPDA. I would go straight to our point of why bidding, or what is bidding. Bidding is the process by which companies or individuals submit proposals to win contracts, projects, often by offering competitive prices and outlining their qualifications. Not to complicate what bidding is just the process. But a bid is the formal document that the potential provider or the entity is giving out to you, a provider, to submit so that you're able to give us a service. For example, if the Petroleum Authority of Uganda is interested in looking out for providers to give a service or a good, they will issue out a bid. And that is the formal document that we give out for you to be able to showcase your competence. So basically, bidding allows you to tell us what are your competences, to tell us what can you do, what kind of service can you give us. If I am requested what bidding is about, evaluate themselves to present their capabilities, optimize prices, and align with industry-specific calling you. Please come, all those who are capable in the market. It is for us to streamline our processes and be systematic so that you will be quoting for the service that we are requesting for. We are also giving you an opportunity to tell us your expertise, your experience. So that is basically why bidding is important. Today we are the reason for opportunities in the oil and gas sector. We just don't want to tell you about bidding and all the procurement processes, but we want to also that, you know what, they already have companies. These companies are the people that are supposed to participate in the bidding processes are companies that are big. Us, the small companies, we do not qualify. That is surely a myth and a propaganda. So we are here to tell you that the opportunities are there. Ugandans, please come up, send out bids. We even advertise in the papers. We put on different websites, and you find like only 2 companies are bidding. And we are asking ourselves why. That is why we are here, and opportunities like your service, you need to better your company, so please come up. I'm a live example of where we work. We'll bid with CNOOC at the same companies. So we have a monotony of the same companies that are supplying goods, taking up these opportunities, because the rest of Ugandans are inviting you to come on board, and we are emphasizing the opportunities that are out there for you in the oil and gas sector. One of the opportunities that we shall start with is upstream exploration and extraction. Companies have opportunities in oil exploration, ridge management, and reservoir analysis. What is upstream exploration? Here we are talking, are you in this kind of field? CNOOC Uganda is inviting you to come up, that we need these services for those companies that can really go into the oil wells and drills. We need the equipment looking for companies that can do this work, but also the Ugandans that are out there that are able to, that have this expertise of rigging, rig management and drilling. We need the equipment, that the machinery that actually will drill the oil wells. There is midstream infrastructure. Midstream infrastructure is a support service to, is a support sector to upstream. Now that we have the ones, we have received the ones that are actually drilling and are working into the oil wells, the companies that have the equipment and the machinery. We also need companies that are going to support the ones in the upstream, and those are the ones we call IT, with large equipments, with large equipment. We need companies in pipeline construction, for example, letting you know that the opportunities are there. We need you in logistics. We need you those in pipeline. We need companies in, we need, so we are calling upon you that the opportunities are there. Please come up for these opportunities. We have opportunities in civil engineering, bridges, housing, processing, warehousing, buildings. The oil and gas sector does not operate in a vacuum. There are people, they are the ones who are working on the oil wells. There are people living in houses. The companies are operating under structures. So we are calling for all of you who might be there and are interested. Emphasize, the oil and gas sector does not operate in a vacuum. We need services of transportation. People are moving every day. Goods need to move. Trucks need to move. The oil and gas sector needs hotel and management. We need to eat. We need good service. We need hotels. We need security services. We need waste management, equipment maintenance. So Ugandans, you have no reason to say, the oil and gas sector is for a certain category. All these sectors are available for us as Uganda. Please look out for these opportunities on different websites in the oil and gas sector. CNOOC is also here telling you we need that service. So please register as a company. Environmental and safety compliance is the way to go now. It is important that even as we drill the oil, even as we construct, we are not destroying our environment. We are minding the health of the people, because the people are the homes and rest and enjoy the money that they have worked for. So we are not only looking at getting finances and enriching ourselves. We are saying we are also looking at the fact that we need to maintain our environment. We are looking at you Ugandans. I know you have ever planted. You have at a smaller level. So upon those that are involved in tree planting, we are calling upon those that can involve in agriculture. We just need you to be in an organized structure, to structure it in a formalized way that can help us get opportunities in big companies that will even take us to an international level. So we are calling you to that. The government is interested in knowing that, okay, health and environment, as CNOOC Uganda is doing its activities, as Total Uganda is doing its activities, what impact on the water, on the animals in the area. So if you have the expertise, this is the opportunity for you. Please, you're welcome. We shall start with this program that is ongoing. It is one of the ways that we are reaching out to the people to tell them that, hey, with the engineering bodies, the welding bodies, And these are crucial opportunities in the oil and gas sectors. Capacity building does not only involve the technical bit, but also the social bit. Like, for example, training Ugandans on everyday skills like catering, handling themselves, accounting knowledge, accounting skills in IT, because that's the way to go. And as they run the machines, these are equipment that are run under IT management. So you're also invited for those under that category. We are inviting companies under the financial and legal consulting capacity. Expertise in regulatory, tax, contractual issues in the oil and gas sector, creating opportunities for firms operating specialized legal, tax, and financial advisory services. Yesterday, inviting you, Ugandan companies that are under this category, to please participate. Those are some of the opportunities in the oil and gas sector. However, we are not limited. We just want to emphasize on a few that we would like you to know. There are different sectors that we have not mentioned, like hotel, like oil pipeline was resettling people in the area. You as CNOOC Uganda, as the Republic of Uganda, to please come up and pre-qualify your companies, register them to be able to about bidding, about procurement, how is it relevant to you as a business personnel. Bidding is in two ways. It is first from us, the entity that is advertising or calling upon you, the different companies. But there is also an importance for you Ugandans to the advantages of about it. You registered it and you kept it somewhere. Or you're only looking at opportunities within your scope. The oil and gas sector is inviting you that you can still, advantage is tell us what you have. Tell us, and a company telling you, please come, you know, and that's what bidding, giving you a goat and then also feeding it for you. So basically that's what we are telling you, fellow Ugandans, that bidding is giving you an opportunity to showcase what you can do. So look out for what your expertise is. If, for example, you're dealing in cars, we know very well because of the diverse and the different changes, Toyota is doing bad, but other companies like Nissan, like Mitsubishi are coming up to say, you know what, we are here. And how have they marketed themselves? They are going into saloon cars, they are going into vans, they are going into trucks. So as a Ugandan, if you have a company and you're dealing in cleaning, what is the niche? What is that experience that sells you out? What best can you do? So that is basically what bidding is about. We are telling you, tell us, tell me, convince me. If you don't know how to do it, Ugandans, we have professionals that you can consult. We have, for example, Lydia speaking to you. You can consult on how best you can bid in this, and it takes only one bid for you to gain the experience on how you can best do this. So these are the reasons as to why we are telling you, please participate in bidding. The other reason why you need to bid is market insight, helping businesses refine their strategies and improve future bids. Market insight helps you in knowing the market trends. When you receive different bids, you know, as a business person, you get to know what is the market looking out for? What is selling now? How can I improve my business? If I've been operating it at a small scale, this is an opportunity for me to upgrade my business. And how am I upgrading it? Changing my pricing strategy. And that is what bidding helps you to do. Competitor offering. You see what your competitors are doing. You see what your competitors are doing. It helps you improve. It creates a leverage for you that, you know what, if I have been at A, I need to move at level B. Bidding gives you revenue opportunities. When you're starting out a business, what is the sole aim of you starting a business? You want money. So you just don't create a business and say, okay, I'll keep my businesses. So we are here to, I'll keep my business and let it settle. We are here to tell you these are the opportunities for you to get money. Yes, Ugandans, I know you've heard the oil and gas sector has money. People out there are reaping. So we are inviting you to please come and be part of this revenue opportunity for your company. We have given you the different sectors that are in the oil and gas sector. If you are part of it, if you have not been part of it, we are inviting you that the opportunities are here for you to get an income, to get better and improve your network base. Like we said, experience is the best thing. We learn from each other. We have seen examples of where the bid, if you have been invited for a bid that is a business that most Ugandans could afford. However, there are those that can afford it. And bidding gives you an opportunity to work together. When we invite a company, we are not telling you, if your company does not have this threshold, we are not telling you to participate. Come up together, Ugandans. Let's work together. Cannot afford. We can go into partnerships and start working together. If I have an equipment, another one brings another. We don't dive in with our head that if you don't have 1.5 million US dollars, you will not be able to take part in the opportunities in the oil and gas sector. We can come up and make partnerships. Those that have equipment, those that have the finances, those that have the legal capacity, those that have the training skills, we can come up and work together and be able to work through one company for us to be able to get these opportunities and learning and also growing. We just need to work in structures for us to be able to work to get these opportunities. So if they are telling you that this is the structure that we need, the question for you who has a business is, how do I be able to tap into this structure? I don't have the capabilities in this skill, but I have the capabilities in welding. Register, work with other companies, do partnerships, subcontract, and in procurement, all those are opportunities that we do not say, okay, if you don't have, don't come. But we are calling you to work together. Skill development. I think this is what I've been explaining about. We will accept that when you don't know, you don't know. This is a new sector for us Ugandans, the oil and gas sector. Some things we do not know. But how do we learn? CNOOC Uganda is here to teach us. And when we learn, it helps another company to learn. It helps another personnel to learn. And that's how we develop. And that's how we get better. Risk management. Bidding helps you to assess your risk. Before you bid, we have opportunities of inspecting these bids. We have seen where we send out bids and the person bids, but the question we have, did this person really understand what they were bidding for? You either underbid or you state your prices too high. And you find those are one of the reasons why companies are not going through. And they keep saying, every time we go, it gives you an opportunity to go out in the market and do survey. What is needed? Because the bidding is a process. We even give you time that the bid will take 10 working days. Within the 10 working days that you have received, let us have the initiative to go out and do market research on the required requirements, on the technical competence that we need for us to be able to compete favorably, for us to win these bids. Reputational building. It is common knowledge that the beginning of everything is not as straight. But for companies that have bidded, like I introduced earlier, you find like the same companies that are getting opportunities in government parastatals are the same everywhere. If you go into printing, New Vision is the leading provider of printing services. And why? They have mastered the art of bidding. That even when they prepare a bid the following day, most likely because they have done it over and over, they have built a brand. So by the time they come to all these different companies, they have the expertise. Because through these biddings, one company gets to know you, and then you build a brand. The next time you come for bidding, because we ask for expertise, the next time you come for bidding, we will ask you, what is your experience? I was able to do cleaning services for Total Uganda. I'm the provider for a business consultant. I have worked here. I have an experience of 5 years. And surely, why wouldn't we give you business? So let us build our brand. Let us not stop at the ones that we know. Let us venture out into deep waters like government parastatals. The beginning may not be easy, but as we work together, as you improve, if you fail the first time, the next time you will be able to know why you did not go through for you to build your business for the next time in case an opportunity comes up. And like we are saying, these opportunities are available. Be attractive. It creates credibility for you. So those are some of the examples as to why bidding is important for you as a business personnel. Of course, there are very many reasons as to why you would participate in bidding, but for purposes of this enterprise development, those are some of the reasons that we are letting you know, and the opportunities that you can take part of, and how it will benefit you as a business. We are talking about pre-qualification. Pre-qualification is part of bidding. It is a process that assesses and evaluates the qualification, capabilities, and sustainability of potential suppliers. Contractors before inviting them to submit formal bids or proposals. Pre-qualification is a process where we shortlist companies. The National Supplier Database uses a pre-qualification system for it to be able to shortlist companies in the oil and gas sector. So for any business that is, for any enterprise that is interested in taking up opportunities, we first start with the pre-qualification document. In this pre-qualification document, we are giving you an opportunity. Are you out there? Would you love to participate in the opportunities in the oil and gas and sector? Please come up and register. And the advantage of the National Supplier Database is you're on this list for 3 good years. 3 good years. So there is no way that in the 3 years you're not going to get a business. There will be different opportunities that you have registered for. Showcase your capabilities. You have found like most of the times when you come to, when you need, when we need services or of different services, maybe like extraction, National Supplier Database. On the National Supplier Database, you first pre-qualify. And first pre-qualifying is first you need to sell yourself. That is what we are telling you. Do you have the capabilities? Are you a registered company? because that's what bidding is asking, not pay taxes. So we are inviting you to be part of the pre-qualification processes. These pre-qualification processes are advertised widely. For example, in the New Vision, in the Monitor, because usually companies, as they're beginning the financial year, we want a database. We want to know that when we are looking out for companies in skill training, we have Vectra Energies. We have a list of 10 companies from which to solicit from. So these are the companies that we send out the bids. But if you have not pre-qualified, it limits our scope from which we can pick from. So pre-qualification is not just a tedious process, but it is a process for you to show your competences, show your capabilities, your suitability. I am here, I am capable of providing ABCD. So when we send out the pre-qualification adverts and you do not participate, it's going to be difficult for me to, because initially what we are doing, we are asking ourselves, are you an eligible bidder? Because there are many companies. Are you interested? So these opportunities are here for you, Ugandans. When you see pre-qualification, we are putting you on our database, that as the 3 years go on, you are part of the companies that we shall be looking out. And in pre-qualifications, we identify the categories of the services and goods that we are requesting for. If we are requesting for waste management, we categorize. So it is up to you as a business person to know that I can pre-qualify for waste management. You look out for the category that you fall under and you bid for that one. And it's the first initial step for you to be able to get business in most public entities and private organizations that are fully structured and have formal processes. Pre-qualification starts with advertising. Like I have said, these advertisements are everywhere. What you need is social capital. Go out in these companies. Tell them, please, when you advertise, send me an email, send me a WhatsApp. That is how we get businesses. These adverts are on newspapers, are on official websites, are everywhere, because the companies are trying to tell you, here is an opportunity, please come and participate. And we are inviting as many companies because it gives us a wide scope from which to pick from. Pre-qualification, after you have advertised, we shall go through a process where we assess the technical competences, the eligibility criteria of the company that you have bidded, that has participated, for us to be able to know that you are a potential supplier. So pre-qualification is telling you if you are a potential supplier, if you are a potential provider, please come up and shortlist so that you are on the database. This does not only apply for oil and gas sector, but it also helps you in other entities. For example, Public Procurement and Disposal Authority pre-qualifies companies on their list. So if you're looking out for a company, you say, okay, if I'm looking out for a service of welding, where can I get competent welders? Where can I get competent engineers? Where can I get competent accountants? You look out on the websites of these big entities. You look out on PPDA, you look out on National Supplier Database, you consult with other stakeholders. That is one of the reasons for pre-qualification. It helps initial screening, vendor assessment, and time management. Why do we pre-qualify? Maybe. Why do companies want to pre-qualify? So that the time when I have business, I'm not calling around. I'm not saying, where are these companies? I already have you in my system. I just choose ABCD3. Please participate. Are you interested? What is your offer? It simplifies things for us as entities that look out for providers. And for us, we are willing to give this service. That's why companies like CNOOC, like Total Uganda, like Petroleum Authority, like PPDA, create these opportunities for companies that if you need a competent provider, where do I go? How long does it take me? I just have to go into this database and look for ABC, and you will see companies contacting you. This helps you as a business personnel to increase your wide scope and your market audience for your company. Expression of interest. Some of us have heard of expression of interest, and we are asking ourselves, what is expression of interest? Expression of interest is a formal document given to you. It is part of also bidding that gives you an opportunity to tell us to tell us whether you're interested in providing a service or a good. Service providers indicate their interest to participate in a specific project. After you have been pre-qualified with us, and we have you on our list as an institution or as an organization, yes, now that we know you are willing to work with us, we still send you an expression of interest. And so we need services of. So we are telling you, before we send you a bid, we need you to show us that you are able to do this activity. So expression of interest is one of the initial stages in bidding. It allows potential suppliers to demonstrate their suitability and interest before formal bids or proposals are requested. It usually outlines your qualification, your interest, and potential contributions. So that is what expression of interest is. These documentations are not technical per se. They are just terms that we use for our providers to know. So it does not mean it is a long document. It is something small that you can fill in for you to let me know that I am interested in providing a service. We've had companies that we give construction work, and you find like they are the ones doing for almost 5 corporations. And the time you're telling them to provide a service for you, they are not able to do it at that time. So that is the reason why we are saying we first give you an expression of interest to tell us, yes, you are on the list of our providers, but in this time, are you able to provide this service? Are you able to provide this quality of good? Do you have the experience? Are the goods available? We don't want to call you and the company is telling you that the shipment is still on its way. So we want to deal with competent providers. Express your interest by saying that I am able, by signing an expression of interest. So basically that is what bidding is about. It is giving you, a business person, an enterprise, opportunities to market yourself. This is one of the ways you can tap into the oil and gas sector. This is where companies like Total Uganda, this is where companies like East African Crude Pipeline is getting companies like Total, CNOOC Uganda get their providers. And it's one of the ways. So when you are invited under pre-qualification, if you're invited for expression of interest, please participate. Bidding has processes. Bidding processes aim at evaluating the procedure aspect of bids submitted, ensuring compliance with standards or structures, like I've earlier highlighted. So what is in this bidding process, or what is involved in the bid that we are giving out? In the pre-qualification bid that I talked about, because I said all those are part of bids. What is in this bid? The bidding process or the bid document is categorized in 3 segments. One, we look at your eligibility. These are the criteria that we are looking out for you to be able to participate in bidding opportunities with different organizations. We look at the eligibility compliance criteria. Under the eligibility compliance criteria, we are looking at documentations. Is your company registered? And these documents are answering questions of, is your company registered? For example, what shows that your company is registered? You have a certificate of incorporation. You have a certificate of registration. You have a memorandum of association. So we want to deal with registered companies. We are also saying we want to deal with companies that pay tax. What is the evidence that you pay tax? We want a valid income tax clearance. Yesterday we were training about tax and auditing. So these are the companies that we are looking out. These are the businesses that bidding, the oil and gas sector, public entities, international organizations that look out for. If you have not been participating in these opportunities, these are the documentations that you will be required to have. It does not mean that you are supposed to have all these requirements. Every entity has its own procedures, but these are just prerequisites and highlights of some of the documentations that you need. For example, you cannot be a company that is not registered. How will we be accountable to you? You're showing that you're still a small business that is operating. We want to deal with businesses that are legally binding, so that when I deal with you, I can easily locate you. Presentable company. We need a valid trading license. What does the trading license help? You're registered with local authorities. Trading licenses at districts have trading licenses with KCCA. The eligibility criteria is literally the documentations we are giving you are documentations that certify that you are an eligible company, that you pay taxes, that you are a registered company, you have shareholders, you have a national supplier database certificate, you have a health and safety policy. Your shareholders have national IDs. Your company has been audited. These are some of the things that we are asking out under the eligibility criteria. So after you have gone through the eligibility criteria, now we know that we are dealing with the right company. That is the first step in bidding. We want to see that we are dealing with the right company. Is it a registered company? Is it a legal company? Basically, that is what bidding is looking out for. So after you have told us that you can be able to do these things, we go out to the next process of the bidding document. The next process of the bidding document is the administrative compliance, ensuring all bids meet the submission requirements. Under submission requirements, we are looking at bid data sheet. We are looking at bid validity. Are you following the timelines? We are saying that we need this bid back within 10 working days or 5 working days. That means we need it in 5 working days. Because the bid is clear in stating what it requires. We need signed ethical codes of conduct. We are telling you we need anti-bribery policy. We need national content plan. This is basically to explain to you or to communicate to you, the business personnel or the enterprise or the industry, that these are the requirements for you to be able to. We need delivery schedules. When will you be able to deliver if we give you a contract? So basically the document is asking for all these details of information for you to be able to answer professionally. Letters, bid security, tax compliance, insurance cover. We are looking at your financial stability and resources to fulfill the contract requirements. We don't want to deal with a company that we are not sure will be able to provide. Midway the service, we are telling you, please, we need the service to be provided, and the provider is telling us, I am unable. That's what bidding does. Under technical competence, we look at quality of the service. We look at physical location. We know some Ugandans are having briefcase offices. We look at range of services. If you are a construction company, you can build, you can paint, you can do welding. It gives you an edge. Dimensions. For example, if we need a car, we tell you what type of car do we need. If we need a truck, we are explaining what caliber, which year of manufacture. So basically, we are outlining what our needs are. In technical competences, we look at warranties and guarantees. If you're providing me a service, are you giving me a warranty? Are you giving me a guarantee? These are just to help you stand better chances of getting bidding opportunities. If you find a company that tells you, okay, I'll do the service, then one that gives you a warranty that if I do the service, I will still cover you after 2 years of maintenance. That company that gives you a warranty and guarantee stands better opportunities than one that has not given. So in bidding, in technical competences, what are you giving me? What is your offer? And how better are you according to, in comparison with the other providers? Because when we give out this bid, we will communicate that ABC is the best provider because of they were better at their technical competence. We are asking you for designs and drawings. We are asking us, you're telling us your capabilities, what you are able to offer. In the bidding document, we are also looking at financial compliance. Financial compliance is the last part of the bidding process. Most Ugandans think that we look at price first. Price is not the major factor. Like I have gone through the business process, the bidding process. The bidding process starts with eligibility. Are you competent? Are you capable? Then we look at the administrative. Then we look at the technical. Finally, we look at the financial. What is your offer? Can we afford you? That is basically what bidding is about. And price is always the last part of the bidding. We are not saying we look at your price vis-a-vis what your offer is, what your technical competence is, what your eligibility is. Under technical competence, we look at also your experience. Would love to deal, no one wants to deal with a new company that has not ventured out in the market. Would love to know that you have the experience and you know what you're doing. So in the bidding, that is basically what we are looking for. So Ugandans, you know what a bidding document is about now. Let's not complicate the processes. They are as easy as that. So those are some of the things that we look out for. And it does not mean that you should have all those criteria. Like I earlier mentioned, those criteria are just to give you a scope, but different entities require different documentations. This is just to highlight on some of the things that you may require if you're to venture out in the bidding and the procurement processes that are ongoing in the oil and gas sector. That is basically about bidding and procurement.
Thank you, Lydia. I think it has been a marathon for you. We thank Vectra that has really taken good care of us. It is bringing us some drinks so that Lydia really relaxes very well, because it has been a marathon and I wanted to chip in many minutes ago because I saw bidding had become serious bidding. So for all our viewers out there, we thank you for following us and viewing this live stream from the day that we started on Monday up to today, and we still have more 7 days to go. We have a lot for you that you really need to benefit from, especially the people out there in the having their SMEs in the oil and gas sector. We thank you for following. I see very many people have been online and appreciating what is happening. I see Amina Vokenya, well done Lydia. It is imperative for Ugandans to tap into opportunities in the oil and gas industry. Let us walk the walk. That's what Amina Vokenya is saying. We also have Joseph Magezi here. Joseph Magezi here. Joseph Magezi here is also just appreciating and thanking Lydia for giving us all this information that people really needed. Then I see here we have Nyanzi Abel. Questions have started coming in, but I would like to appreciate Stephen Yodokorachi. I would like to appreciate you for this insightful information. I don't know where Stephen is right now, but I wanted to know where all of you are. We have Nyanzi Abel. So, Lydia, we have a few questions now that are coming in, and let me hope these people will be answered. Magezi Stephen is asking, how can you ensure fairness in the bidding process? 2 or 3, and then you respond to them at once. We have Nyanzi Abel. Good morning, I'm Nyanzi Abel from Chireka. My question is, how can I find bidding opportunities? The first question was, how can you ensure fairness in the bidding process? The second question, how can I find bidding opportunities? Maybe first respond to those, then I will bring in more questions.
Thank you very much, Michael. Bidding in itself is a fair process. There are rules and regulations that we follow under the bidding process. When the bid is submitted, we outline the criteria under which these bids are to be evaluated. Just like I have been taking you through, we also give reasons. We do open bidding. There are different things. We can also give official results of what each person bidded for. We give timelines to bidders to respond to the results of our evaluation. Under Government of Uganda, we give 10 working days. In case you have bidded for a certain service or good and you have not been satisfied, you have 10 working days to submit your complaint or to seek clarification on how the bidding process went and why you are considered ineligible or you are unable to go through. So those are some of the ways in which we ensure compliance.
Okay. Then Nyanzi Abel, what is the difference between a bid and a contract?
A bid is the formal document that we give you for you to be able to express and state that what service that you will be able to give to us. So it is the initial process of selling yourself. It is the document that we give you to tell us, to communicate to us of what you will be able to give us. So the bidding process is different from a contract. It's because in the bidding process, we are looking for a competent provider. We are looking for a qualified provider. We are looking for, we are soliciting for a provider to give us a service. So we are looking out for you in the market. Are you able to provide? We are advertising. We are letting you know that we need ABCD. Will you be able to do it? So in the bidding process, you're telling us, yes, I am able, I am a competent provider, I have the experience, I can give you ABC, this is what my expertise is. Then after you have done the bidding, we evaluate and we see who is the most eligible, who has been the best in all the bids that we have received. And it is after that level that we award. And then we communicate back to you and tell you, okay, because of ABC, this contractor C was the best evaluated bidder. And after contractor C, we have communicated that contractor C is the best evaluated bidder. That is when we go at contract signing. So contract signing only comes in after we have evaluated you as the most competent bidder and you are the competent provider. That's the difference between bidding and contracting.
Okay, thank you, Lydia. We have Shira Kasemili and Selomba Ashley thanking you for giving them such an insightful lecture. And then I have some other questions here. Someone is asking, what are the key components of winning a bid? That one. Then there is what evaluation criteria do clients commonly use?
The evaluation criteria that is used is what I have talked about, I have highlighted about in the bidding process. We look at your eligibility, we look at your technical competence, we look at your commercial competence, we look at your financial competences. So those are the categories under which one stands a chance to win a bid. The other question was?
What are the key components of winning a bid?
The key components of winning a bid is having structures as an organization. Organize your paperwork, because basically that is what we are requesting for. Organize yourself as an institution, have structures in place, register your company, have the technical experience.
Okay.
Those are the ways in which you can be able to go through in these bidding processes.
I hope you people are really picking all this information and your questions are being answered. Then I see Juma Monobwa here is asking, what are there bidding software or tools you recommend? And then something comes in here, how can technology help track and refine bid performance?
Technology is an important tool in our modern day sector. For example, the government of Uganda is enrolling on working on e-procurements, electrical procurements, where we no longer have to give bids physically, but we send them out electronically, we receive the responses electronically, we evaluate electronically. It is important because it makes things swift. You find like international organizations like CNOOC are using the digital methods of bidding. So basically it's about the advantage of going analog and using technical software rather than the rudimentary methods where the person has to physically come. For example, if a company now is in Hoima, the Albertine region, they don't have to physically move around soliciting for these companies. All they have to do is put the bid on their website, place the advertisement on their website, and then all interested stakeholders will automatically get to know about the opportunities that are available. So that's what technology does. It cuts across for all.
Then someone here is asking and is like, as a consultant, can you like, is asking, he wanted to know how to win a bid. There is a question here. What strategies can help me stand out among competitors?
Can I get his name?
This one is Rachel Makura.
Rachel, thank you very much. One of the strategies that can help you stand out in a bidding processes are specifically what I have highlighted initially.
Yeah.
There is no technicality in a bid. Organize your company structure, document. If you need help, contact the services of procurement personnel, contact the services of legal personnel to help you be able to acquaint yourself with these bidding processes and procedures. And that is it. Like I said, you do it once, the rest of the of the processes will be easier.
Then someone is asking, the lady is asking, what are the common risks in bidding and how can they be mitigated? Common risks.
Bidding per se does not have risks. Maybe the disadvantages that could come along with it, or the shortcomings that Ugandans out there might have said about bidding. One of is because the bidding process seems tedious, seems long. Yes, rather than going out to look for a service, just like compared to walking into a shop, the process will require you to have the technical expertise of writing the bid, the proposals, because it is a competition. So you need to have the experience of writing these proposals. You need to have the documentations that come along with company registration and all that. And then it is a competition.
Okay.
There is no guarantee that when you bid, you will automatically go through. Just like any other opportunities competed for, you need to put effort into competing for you to be able to win a tender. And I think Ugandans should not be scared about this. You can talk to these companies that are bidding, ask them how best you can serve them. The officers in these companies are willing to take you through. Just that maybe some don't take the initiative to inquire. But these, the bidding processes are very clear, even where you have picked the bid, where you've had the opportunities. Like I said, we give an opportunity for you to inspect the bid. Before you bid, ask all the relevant questions. Look through it. If there is anything that is unclear or anything that you'd love to know how best you can serve that company, please inquire. We are available to give you this information as procurement specialists or as officers in these companies.
Lydia, this is a very critical subject that we are really discussing, because if there is no procurement, then that means there is no business. And when it comes to procurement, some people are always complaining and they keep saying that there is always favoritism when it comes to bidding. Is there any way that this can be dealt with? Because seriously, very many people keep complaining and they're like, we bidded, but we never got. But we see a family member who has really won the contract. Is there a way that they have started dealing with favoritism, or is there a mechanism where this thing becomes like there is nothing like any favoritism?
I think that's still fairness and transparency. Fairness and transparency, one of the ways is through the digital processes. Under the digital processes, you will know that if you submitted beyond deadline, you are automatically disqualified. But that does not only mean that only those with digital platforms are the ones who are able to do that. The bidding processes, that's like I have emphasized, are very clear. It's just that Ugandans have not been acquainted to these processes and we feel they are unfair. The bidding processes are very clear. The bidding closes at 9. Please make sure you have submitted at 9. The technical competencies are always clear in these bids. That's why we are saying, we are advising Ugandans. If it is your first time or you're not well acquainted, you can seek services of procurement personnel to help you answer these bids, because you may not be acquainted to them. And that is what I was saying in the beginning, that you find the companies that are into bidding are the same companies everywhere. And that's why Ugandans think the process is unfair. It's the same company in most of the entities because they have mastered the art. So how do you get better? Invest time. If you're doing, if you're signing a contract and you need help and it is your first time, don't just go ahead and sign. Contact the services of a legal personnel so that they can advise you on what exactly you are going into. That is one of the ways in which we emphasize fairness. The government of Uganda has portals like PPDA where you can, if you are unsatisfied, you are able to lodge in your complaint about a bidding process that you felt was unfair, so that you can be answered professionally for you to get justification.
Then there is another question here. How can we identify red flags in tender documents? Identifying red flags in tender documents.
Red flags in tender documents, I'm not sure what exactly he means. Is it like for him as a business personnel?
I think.
As a business personnel?
Yeah.
I think the red flags could be when the bidding document is not clear. That is where I advise that before you participate in a bid, this bid is sent to you, or you have seen an advert and you would love to participate. Request for the bid. Bid inspection is free of charge. Even when you're expressing your interest, you are eligible. You have the right to ask for the bid and look through it before you say, okay, I'll be able to provide this service. I am willing to participate. The challenges are we run at the opportunity of saying, yes, I am able to provide the service. And now when we give you the bid, you say, no, this is unfair. They should not have done it. We are telling you bid inspection is free of charge. Look through the bid, ask all the relevant questions so that at the time of submission, you are content that you have given your all into this bid. If you think the specifications are not clear or are unfair towards a certain company, please come up and raise it. That's one of the ways to eliminate issues of red flags and fear. You have a choice to participate in the bidding or not. So one of the ways is to first inspect, look through what you have been required. Will I be able to meet these criteria? If I am not able to meet these criteria, can I work with another company? And those are one of the ways we can best participate in bidding.
Thank you, Mrs. Lydia Magezi. And here, you know, sometimes I think bidding, when people are bidding, do they first have to pay some money, or bidding is free?
Yes, to answer that question, not all bidding processes require payments. There are instances where we send out restricted bids. Restricted bids are, we look out for the companies that supply these companies and we just send to those specific companies. Under that case, we send you the bid and it's up to you to respond, and you're not required to pay any amount. Usually where we pay are bidding documents for that are open, and these ones are advertised most especially on newspapers, and they involve a threshold of big amounts, for example 400 million and above. So with those ones, we are categorically specific on the amount that you'll be able to pay for the bidding. But what Ugandans should know is that we are not specifically interested in your 100,000 or 50,000 that you pay. Are actually interested and are capable. Because when you invest your 100,000 or 50,000, you are a potential person, not for anyone who says, okay, let me give it a try. Otherwise, we would spend a full year evaluating bids for all the Ugandan companies. So we are trying to limit the scope to only those that are capable and are surely interested. So usually that is the the reason behind the 100,000 and not basically as a business. And for government of Uganda, what Ugandans should know, the 100,000 goes to NTRs, non-taxable revenues. So this money is for Ugandans and is for you as a Ugandan. Yes, you may not get it directly, but that is the reason behind.
You've talked about that reason behind, but you know, people keep bidding. Do they get back that money?
The money is non-refundable.
Non-refundable.
Yes, and we stated that the money will be non-refundable.
So Uganda decides to bid, doesn't get like a contract, and at the end of the day, that money is not back. Okay, that is somehow, I don't know whether it's unfair or fair, but I continue to thank those that are following us online. I think we have a few questions here as we sum up with bidding. Someone is still asking about compliance. That has been answered. Then we see here someone is asking about artificial intelligence and bidding.
Okay, we've talked about that.
Yeah.
Electronic.
Events Live Uganda. Moses here. Lydia is both bright and beautiful. Lydia's someone might be following, so when you're sending in your comments, don't cause us problems. So we are still continuing with our live stream. Serom Bass continues to appreciate. Lydia, Shira also is appreciating. Then someone from Noya, Stephen Odokorachi, is also appreciating. So Lydia, as we sum up with bidding, what are the key areas, the key insights that Ugandans following us can pick from the whole bidding? A summary.
Michael, thank you very much. Bidding is easy.
Yes.
It is doable, and it is an opportunity for us Ugandans to access opportunities in structured organizations in a formal way. Ugandans, we are inviting you to please participate in these opportunities. And one of the ways is by embracing the modern ways of doing business. And one of the modern ways of doing business is through participating in these opportunities.
Okay, thank you, Lydia. To our viewers, thanks for following us from the time we started here on Monday. As I told you earlier, we shall be here for the next 6 days, and we shall be having very many different presenters who will be coming in here with different topics. The idea was to make sure that the SMEs out there learn from these experts, these consultants. You know, the consultants are very busy people, but they have offered their time to come here, and we also thank CNOOC Uganda for making sure that it facilitates these people very well. Lydia couldn't be here all this time lecturing and training and mentoring if CNOOC wasn't there. We also thank Vectra for being in this, and because they really feel the Ugandans out there doing business really need this information. They really need to learn. They need the knowledge. So it is this knowledge that will make everyone out there in those SMEs compliant, because it is compliance that will lead the way. It is compliance that will enable you get that contract that you've been waiting for. It is compliance and bidding and auditing and knowing about taxation that will really help you do business very well. If you don't know about bidding, if you don't know about procurement, how will you then deal with these bigger multinationals like CNOOC? So I thank everyone that has been following us, and just keep sending in your questions, send in your comments, share the live link. Share the link so that everyone comes in here, joins us, and they watch, learn, and understand what the consultants are really teaching about. Lydia will be coming back with many other topics. Which topic are we coming back with?
Contract management.
Lydia will be telling us about contract management. Very many of you out there don't know about contract management, just like me. We are all here to learn. I have learned quite a lot. So as we prepare for contract management, we will go for a short break and then we will be back here for contract management. Just be ready, wait for us. We will come here. We want you to learn. This is also a very serious topic that everyone needs to watch and listen to. It is a very good topic, contract management. So I urge you to send this link to very many people. We want you to be very, very, very many. You know knowledge, you don't have to remain with the knowledge you alone. You have to share the knowledge so that everyone else also gets a chance, because it's a free online course. It's like a course. Very many of you are learning. I see many of you are having pens out there and notebooks, noting each and everything. And if you want like guidance and some other help, these consultants are available. You can send a comment. You can send a comment. Remember, we are also live on Twitter. Follow Vectra on Twitter. We are also live that side. So let's go for a short break. We will be back with Lydia in another segment. Thank you.
The Kingfisher oil fields development has evolved, reaching some significant milestones after CNOOC Uganda Limited and its joint venture partners signed the final investment decision. Land for the construction of different facilities was acquired and compensation was fully made. Cash and in-kind compensation, like resettlement houses for all families, were built and handed over to the project-affected persons. Construction commenced for different aspects of the project, leading to the development of facilities such as the camps, well pads, the central processing facility, and feeder lines, followed by the delivery of the rigs and installation. Spudding was done in January 2023. There have been promising drilling outcomes, with 7 wells drilled in pads 2 and 3. Drilling operations, coring and on-site works are continuing, achieving total footage of approximately 23,000 meters. Other noticeable activities include a base station and permanent camp, solar turbine transportation, EPC 3-tank erection work, and EPC 4 pipeline trenching. CNOOC will actively promote the LPG integration plan, which will gradually achieve the strategic transformation towards a green and low-carbon energy supplier. A camp integrated hydropower project has been set up, which will result in carbon dioxide emission reduction by 3,156 tons. CNOOC has continued to contribute to the Belt and Road, people-to-people exchanges, enhancing China-Africa friendship and promoting the building of a community with a shared future for mankind. CNOOC collaborates with various Ugandan universities to enhance graduate employment curriculum design and research. We have signed agreements with several institutions to support scientific research and develop talents in the oil and gas sector. CNOOC, in collaboration with 5 other Chinese companies on the Kingfisher project, spearheaded a drive that led to the donation of $500,000 to upgrade the infrastructure of the Entebbe Welfare School. This is the largest donation to education in Uganda.
On behalf of the Ministry of Education and Sport, I would like to extend my gratitude to CNOOC Uganda Limited and the contractors of Kingfisher Oil Fields for your commitment to the cause of vulnerable and challenged children.
CNOOC sponsors international scholarships, sending Ugandan students to study in China. Under this program, a total of 11 students have been sponsored and 8 have since graduated and are currently working in the oil and gas industry.
This scholarship to me is a dream come true. I always wanted to receive a first-class education from a good school, and CNOOC has provided me with this opportunity, this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
CNOOC focuses on training and certification programs for skills needed in the oil and gas industry, which promotes local employment and strengthens Uganda's logistics and industrial capacity. Over 150 contractors, 3,000 individuals have been trained in various oil and gas skills. The company collaborates with local vocational schools to provide welder training, significantly contributing to Uganda's professional welding sector.
They took the initiative to sponsor us who are underdogs, and they want to put us somewhere. We thank them a lot. There's nothing much we can give them, but maybe use the skills properly so that they can also feel they have done some impact in the Uganda we have now.
CNOOC Youth Employment Support Program has trained over 350 local youths in various vocational skills, improving their employability and living conditions. These trainings cover welding, heavy truck driving, heavy machinery operation, engineering construction, and other skills needed in the oil and gas field development, as well as driving, tailoring, and hairdressing, among others. CNOOC invests in projects to improve community living standards, such as provide over 13,000 residents in Buhuka flats, carrying out medical camps and building resettlement houses with modern amenities for 56 households. We have also invested $620,000 in maintaining critical roads and enhancing public safety. Livelihood restoration programs include donating livestock and teaching scientific breeding methods. We also work closely with the Confucius Institute of Makerere University, supporting events like the Chinese Bridge competition and the Sound in My Heart Chinese song competition. CNOOC also organizes activities to celebrate Chinese culture, such as the Spring Festival. These efforts enrich cultural communication and foster mutual understanding between China and Uganda.
CNOOC Uganda Limited is committed to education and capacity building to fulfill its vision of energy for Uganda.
The Kingfisher oil fields development has evolved, reaching some significant milestones after CNOOC Uganda Limited and its joint venture partners signed the final investment decision. Land for the construction of different facilities was acquired and compensation was fully made. Cash and in-kind compensation, like resettlement houses for all families, were built and handed over to the project-affected persons. Construction commenced for different aspects of the project, leading to the development of facilities such as the camps, well pads, the central processing facility, and feeder lines, followed by the delivery of the rigs and installation. Spudding was done in January 2023. There have been promising drilling outcomes, with 7 wells drilled in pads 2 and 3. Drilling operations, coring and on-site works are continuing, achieving total footage of approximately 23,000 meters. Other noticeable activities include a base station and permanent camp, solar turbine transportation, EPC3 tank erection work, and EPC4 pipeline trenching. CNOOC will actively promote the LPG integration plan, which will gradually achieve the strategic transformation towards a green and low-carbon energy supplier. A camp integrated hydropower project has been set up, which will result in carbon dioxide emission reduction by 3,156 tons. CNOOC has continued to contribute to the Belt and Road, people-to-people exchanges, enhancing China-Africa friendship and promoting the building of a community with a shared future for mankind. CNOOC collaborates with various Ugandan universities to enhance graduate employment curriculum design and research. We have signed agreements with several institutions to support scientific research and develop talents in the oil and gas sector. CNOOC, in collaboration with 5 other Chinese companies on the Kingfisher project, spearheaded a drive that led to the donation of $500,000 to upgrade the infrastructure of the Entebbe Welfare School. This is the largest donation to education in Uganda.
On behalf of the Ministry of Education and Sport, I would like to extend my gratitude to CNOOC Uganda Limited and the contractors of Kingfisher oil fields for your commitment to the cause of vulnerable and challenged children.
CNOOC sponsors international scholarships, sending Ugandan students to study in China. Under this program, a total of 11 sponsored and 8 have since graduated and are currently working in the oil and gas industry.
This scholarship to me is a dream come true. I always wanted to receive a first-class education from a good school, and CNOOC has provided me with this opportunity, this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
CNOOC focuses on training and certification programs for skills needed in the oil and gas industry, which promotes local employment and strengthens Uganda's logistics and industrial capacity. Over 150 contractors and more than 3,000 individuals have been trained in various oil and gas skills. The company collaborates with local vocational schools to provide welder training, significantly contributing to Uganda's professional welding building sector.
They took the initiative to sponsor us who are underdogs, and they want to put us somewhere. We thank them a lot. There's nothing much we can give them, but maybe use the skills properly so that they can also feel they have done some impact in the Uganda we have now.
CNOOC Youth Employment Support Program has trained over 350 local youths in various vocational skills, improving their employability and living conditions. These trainings cover welding, heavy truck driving, heavy machinery operation, engineering construction, and other skills needed in the oil and gas field development, as well as driving, tailoring, and hairdressing, among others. CNOOC invests in projects to improve community living standards, such as providing clean drinking water to over 13,000 residents in Buhuka flats, carrying out medical camps and building resettlement houses with modern amenities for 56 households. We have also invested $620,000 in maintaining critical roads and enhancing public safety. Livelihood restoration programs include donating livestock and teaching scientific breeding methods. We also work closely with the Confucius Institute of Makerere University, supporting events like the Chinese Bridge Competition and the Sound in My Heart Chinese Song Competition. CNOOC also organizes activities to celebrate Chinese culture, such as the Spring Festival. These efforts enrich cultural communication and foster mutual understanding between China and Uganda.
CNOOC Uganda Limited is committed to education and capacity building to fulfill its vision of energy for Uganda.
A rig is a group of equipment that we assemble, we test, and then we commission or operationalize to help us dig the wells, have them under control, have them completed, and get them ready for the production phase.
We have built capacity to handle equipment from the ship up to the last mile in the Kingfisher.
The convoys have been in the range of 15 to 20 trucks and driving all the way from Mombasa to Malaba in about 3 days. Then they would come from Malaba to Mukono, spend a night, then early morning we would set off from Mukono to Hoima.
We have employed Ugandans, so that's a good way of appreciating and saying yes, it is possible that we Ugandans, we can be involved in this oil and gas, and we perform excellently.
A rig is a group of equipment that we assemble, we test, and then we commission or operationalize to help us dig the wells, have them under control, have them completed, and get them ready for the production phase.
We have built capacity to handle equipment from the ship up to the last mile in the Kingfisher.
The convoys have been in the range of 15 to 20 trucks and driving all the way from Mombasa to Malaba in about 3 days. Then they would come from Malaba to Mukono, spend a night, then early morning we would set off from Mukono to Hoima.
We have employed Ugandans, so that's a good way of appreciating and saying yes, it is possible that we Ugandans, we can be involved in this oil and gas, and we perform excellently.
A rig is a group of equipment that we assemble, we test, and then we commission or operationalize to help us dig the wells, have them under control, have them completed, and get them ready for the production phase.
We have built capacity to handle equipment from the ship up to the last mile in a Kingfisher.
The convoys have been in the range of 15 to 20 trucks and driving all the way from Mombasa to Malaba in about 3 days. Then they would come from Malaba to Mukono, spend a night. Then early morning we would set off from Mukono to Hoima.
We have employed Ugandans, so that's a good way of appreciating and saying yes, it is possible that we Ugandans, we can be involved in this oil and gas, and we perform excellently.
A rig is a group of equipment that we assemble, we test, and then we commission or operationalize to help us dig the wells, have them under control, have them completed, and get them ready for the production phase.
We have built capacity to handle equipment from the ship up to the last mile in a Kingfisher.
The convoys have been in the range of 15 to 20 trucks and driving all the way from Mombasa to Malaba in about 3 days. Then they would come from Malaba to Mukono, spend a night. Then early morning we would set off from Mukono to Hoima.
We have employed Ugandans, so that's we can be involved in this oil and gas, and we perform excellently.
Stream. Thanks for watching us. We are back from the short break. I hope guys out there are now ready for the next segment of our training, and it will be as so important as the first segment that we had. And this time round, Lydia is again going to take you through a marathon of a very purposeful topic that many of you really want, and it is contract management. So Lydia, I again welcome you back from the short break. I hope our viewers out there are very ready. Please continue sending in your comments, continue sending in your questions. Lydia will still have to respond to them. We thank CNOOC for sponsoring this training, and the people that are supposed to be benefiting from this, I think you are out there really learning and enjoying whatever Lydia is trying to tell you. Continue sharing the link. We remember we are also live on Twitter via Vectra Energy. Please go on Twitter, follow Vectra Energy, subscribe to this channel, and we can get going. So Lydia, you're welcome, and I think we can now continue with the next topic.
Thank you, Michael. Welcome back, our viewers. We're still going through the lecturing of bidding and contracting. The first session was about bidding. Now we shall be talking about contract management. Before we go to contract management, maybe we'll start with what contracting is. And before you reach the contracting stage, the question is, you have gone through the bidding processes, you have submitted your bid. What next? That is the reason why we are talking about contracting. We are asking ourselves, after going through the bidding, I have submitted, and I have been awarded. What happens next? The next stage is what we call contracting. You have been notified as the best evaluated bidder, because after evaluation, we send you a notification that you are the best evaluated bidder. You have successfully gone through all the processes. What happens next? Contracting is the initial stage of every every beginning of a business. When we get into a business, whether it is to sell shoes on a small scale or to supply pipelines in the oil and sector, gas, or to supply mattresses, the beginning stage of the process is what we call contracting. What is contracting? A contract is a legally binding agreement between two or more parties that outline the terms and conditions of their relationship regarding a specific transaction. A contract is me and you agreeing that yes, I'll be able to provide services, or I'll be able to provide these kinds of goods at this amount and of this quality. And I'm also agreeing that I need this service, so we are able to work. So these are just, we are literally saying we have agreed to work together. That is what basically contracting is about. Initially in a normal setting, when we agree, it is enough. But now that we're talking about structures, and that's what procurement is about, we need documentation. And this is the contract that we are drafting, that both of us are agreeing to the terms and conditions of what was specifically indicated in the bid. So for you to reach the level of contracting, you must have participated in the bidding process, because what you put in the bidding process is what is included in the contract. What you said you will provide does not change in the contract. Those are the same things that we are saying, okay, now this is the next level of business, that we are agreeing to work together under the same terms. So basically that is what contracting is about. It requires two or more people to agree together. There are different types of contracts. We have contracts for suppliers. For example, goods. If you supply goods, mattresses, pipes, those are what we categorize as supplies. We also have categories of non-consultancy services. These are services. If we were requested for a service of welding, of cleaning, of health, medical services, those are categories. We also have categories of works. Works is where we have construction, extraction, midstream, all that falls under contracts. There are different types of contracts depending on the categories. So in this session, we shall talk about a few. But if you need to learn more about contracts, depending on institutions, the different institutions and the activities, there will be a draft of different contracts. But what we need to understand is just that a contract is an agreement between two parties on what you will be able to provide and what I am paying for. So the type of contract or the word in the contract is not the major, the importance, but on what we are agreeing. So I will take you through some of the types of contracts, just in case you meet them along the way, or some of the common contracts that we undertake under procurement. We have frameworks. Framework contracts are contracts for repetitive items. Companies that regularly, for example, cleaning is an everyday thing. Waste management is a daily activities. Supply of stationery, toners, those are things that we use regularly in companies. So every time we need that service, we don't have to go out and say, okay, come, now I need paper, now I need pens, now I need books. We use framework contracts in which you itemize all the goods that you'll be able to provide, or you tell us for cleaning services, I'll be charging for this specific area, 200,000 a month, $300 a month, $5,000 a month, depending on what you're cleaning. So that is the type of contract for repetitive items. And we usually, when you see adverts for procurements under framework contracts, that is all you need to know. These are things that you do yearly, 2 years, 3 years, 1.5. That is what framework contracts are. Percentage-based contract, based on total costs from which the percentage is to be calculated. Here we agree that when you reach this percentage of work, if you've done 50% of the work, I'll pay you this amount. If you have done this level, if for example you're building and you finish the slab area, we shall be able to pay this amount. So percentage is in 2 batches. That's the type of contract. Lump sum contract is you do a contract and I pay you. It is fixed. You say, if you can supply 50%, I'll pay you a fixed price of 500,000. We agree. The amounts are specified and the work that you're going to do is specific. Time-based contract, that is based on hours, daily, weekly, monthly, or agreed with an agreed personnel. Usually this is for personnels, for services of persons. That you'll be, if I am training for 2 hours, we agree I'll be paid for this kind of amount. If you are a medical personnel and you work for 24 hours, so you're paid according to time. At measurement contract, work is split in various items and quantities for each items. This is usually for BOQs, bills of quantities, constructions, where we measure the quantity or items and we split it. I gave an example of each level of procurement that you finish. In a construction, you are paid. Cost reimbursement contract, target price contract, retainer contracts. These are usually for professionals. We have seen examples of legal services where if you're to retain the legal personnel, you're supposed to give them a retainer. Those are some of the examples of contracts in procurement, but the procurement, the type of contract depends on the agreement that you have with the provider. It is not necessarily about the type of agreement, though it is important to know about it, but what we have agreed upon. And those are some of the categories of the contracts that we have. Why is contracting necessary? Contracting is both. Like we talked about, it is about 2 parties. The one that is contracting and the one that is being contracted. It is important to the one who is contracting and it is important to the one who is being contracted. Now that we are talking about business personnel, we are asking ourselves, why is it important to you as a business? Why do you need to come into agreement? Otherwise, it would be your word and then business begins. One, it is for legal protection. Contracts provide a legal framework that protects the interests of all parties involved. They outline rights and obligations, helping to mitigate risks. Yes, here we are documenting. We have evidence that we have agreed on a specific time. You'll be able to provide my items that I requested for, and I will be able to pay you this amount. So it gives us protection that each one of us should meet what we initially agreed, what we have specified in the contract. So it avoids disputes of where, in cases, we may not have written and we have something to refer back to. Clarity and expectations. Contracts clearly define the terms of agreement, ensuring that all parties have the same understanding of their responsibilities, timelines, and deliveries. Yes, before you go into a contract, we have read understood. I think that's what the law term says, that you have read and understood that you will be able to provide our services at a given time, in a given condition. So that is what contract helps us to do. You know what you're expected of. You have somewhere to refer to just in case of anything. What time was I supposed to deliver? How many quantities am I supposed to deliver for this kind of item? That is what contracting helps us in doing. It helps in dispute resolutions. In case we have reached a snag or we are failing to agree on a certain item, contracting helps us to settle disputes. In the contracts, we have outlined, in case we have a disagreement, or not necessarily a disagreement, or we are not agreeing on a certain item, what should we do? What will be the terms for us to be able to work together? In the event of a disagreement, a well-drafted contract serves as a reference point for resolving disputes. It can outline procedures for mediation or arbitration, potentially avoiding lengthy litigations. So dispute resolution, disagreements, if you forgot, what did you say? Last time you said this, all that is avoided in contracting because the terms of the contract are clearly speculated. So in case we reach a disagreement, we first maybe mediate. We come together and agree. Or we say we shall negotiate to see the win-win situation at this hand. Financial security. Contracts can specify payment terms, deadlines, and penalties for non-compliance, helping businesses manage cash flow and financial risks effectively. I think that one is what is very obvious because we are basically interested in money. So in contracts, we know what you will be paid for, at what time, what will be the penalties in case you pay late or you do not meet the terms of payment. Relationship managing. They help formalize partnerships and collaborations, setting the groundwork for trust, accountability in business relationships. Yes, contracting helps us have mutual relationships. Those are professional relationships. You meet your obligation, I meet your obligation. You give me a service, it is an exchange. Business is an exchange. So we are exchanging. You give me a service, I pay you. This is what is expected. So it helps us work coherently in harmony. That is what contracts do. Compliancy and regulations. Many industries have specific legal requirements that necessitate contracts, ensuring that businesses comply with laws and regulations. Yes, the government of Uganda has rules and regulations in regards to contracts. So as you're drafting your contract, you have to put it in mind that there is a legal body, a jurisdiction in which you're not supposed to go out of. Then the industry that you're contracting with also has legal regulations as an entity or as an organization. So the parties need to understand each other. We are understanding each other that we shall not go beyond the scope. For example, those in the oil and gas sector, you know what the regulations concerning petroleum cars in that area. Yeah. So these are the things we are telling you. If we have told you under this entity, the regulations are your petroleum vehicles have a restriction. We do not expect you to come with petroleum vehicles other than diesel or electronic cars. Future planning. Contracts can include clauses of future contingencies, allowing businesses to plan for changes in circumstances such as market fluctuations or change in management. Yes, there are always unforeseen eventualities or circumstances. There are always emergencies that we may not have planned for. Or this contract gives you an opportunity to plan that phase A, this is what the contract expects me to cover. phase 2, I should have concluded the building phase. Phase 3 is closing the building. So it helps us in planning because it has targets and metrics. I think that's the importance, the major importance of documenting work. We have KPIs, what is expected of me, what will show that I have been able to complete this phase. That is the importance of contracting. So any business personnel, whether you have the services of a legal personnel or not, it is important and prudent and professional that you draft. Someone was talking about AI. There was a question about AI.
Yeah.
I think this is where AI comes in procurement. You go to the internet, look out for contracts at least. Consult your legal personnels. Hire the services. It is good to also invest in what you're doing to avoid future eventualities. Let us have a legal framework. Let us have documentation of what we are going to work on. What are the expectations? It helps cohesion. It helps disputes. It saves time, and it helps you deliver quality services under the structured process. That is the way to go. Contract awarding. Contract awarding will come after we have announced the winner, that you went through the bidding process and you are the winner. So after they have award, they have the company that invited you, your services, that is interested in working with you, has announced that you are the winner. We shall call you for a debrief. Debrief in the contracting stage is where we talk about it. You have an opportunity to ask. I will repeat that. You have an opportunity to ask. You can even take the document back home and consult and think about it and meditate, whatever you need to do. Before contracting, please take your time. That is what the debriefing is about. That, you know what, I have read through, this is it. If you have any queries, if you're not sure about you delivering something, or whether you will meet the timelines or you meet the quality, that is the time for you to say, yes, in the bidding process, I had initially stated that I will be able to deliver according to this time. But however, according to the market trends, we may not be able to deliver as we had anticipated. We make the changes here in the contract. This is the time before you sign that I will be, because of the changes I'm requesting for these adjustments. It is important that before you sign a contract, we are clear with each other, because after signing of a contract, there's no turning back. So the two parties are giving each other an opportunity to clear out or to make any adjustments that may occur along the way before we sign the contract. We have performance securities for contracts that are above 500 million. If you're looking at $1.5 million, that is a threshold that is quite a lot. Yes, despite the fact that we looked at commercial and financial competences that you are able to, we need a performance security. For some of these contracts, like we said, we pay you a down payment. We give you maybe 50% of down payment for you to provide, but we need you to show us that you have the financial security through your bank statements, and your bank is telling us that provider Mr. Kimbowa and Advocates has the potential to provide a service of $1.5 million according to the statistics and the finances that are in the bank. Of course, your banks know you. They know your financial worth. So they are the ones we are requesting you to give us affirmation that surely you have this financial muscle to do this caliber of work. So that's basically about contracting. Each parties are coming to understanding with each other, clearing out the air, writing down structures on how the working will be implemented. Then finally, we have the contract signing. Contract signing, the authorized representatives of the company in the bidding process, we talked about powers of attorney, are the only people mandated to sign a contract. We shall talk about that in future. If their personnel are not, then that contract is not legally binding. So those are legal involvements that at least every business person should know about, or every company holder. Not anyone can sign on behalf of the company. Then if you need a witness of a lawyer, that the contracts give you the mandate to do that. We are talking about the components of a contract. The components of a contract is what a contract involves, what is in the document, because we see papers, but now we are saying what is in this thing. So it is categorized into 5. We have the agreement, which we have initially been talking about. You and me agreeing, contractor A agreeing with contractor B, and you sign and you say yes. So you am saying I am agreeing by signing. That is the agreement. Then the contractor's bid. We usually indicate the contractor's bid because it's the basis on which the contract was initially made. In the contract, we may not specifically state, we may not put it for the contract not to be bulky. But in our wordings, we are stating that the contractor's bid is part of the contract because it's the basis on which we are agreeing to these terms. And we usually refer to it of what you said you will be able to offer. So that's why the contract, the bidding document is important. So we talk about scope of work. Scope of work are the technical specification that we requested for in the bid. So like I initially said, contracting is a continuation of the bidding process that we initially talked about. Scope of work are the technical specifications of what we exactly request for. And in this, we cover things like duration of the service, the time frame of the contract, including start and end dates, as well as any key milestones or deadlines for specific tasks and deliverables. So here we need time. We are specifying time. The contract is running for 2 years. Please, contractors, when the contract is for 2 years, it is for 2 years. Ugandans, from experience, we do not meet deadlines. So let us improve on that. Consideration. The amount to be given in exchange for a service or a good. I will pay 500,000, I'll pay 500 million if you deliver service A at a given time, in a given condition, and packaged, because there are some activities that need to be packaged in specific ways. So you should, what I am paying for is what, yes, I agree to pay that amount, but it should correspond with what you have delivered. Terms of payment, that goes back to the type of contract that we drafted. In the type of contract, we talked about framework, we talked about percentage based. So the type of payment, depending on the type of contract that we have decided. We have methods, schedules, conditions of payment, such as performance-linked milestones. If we said you will pay after a different schedule, you please provide the schedule or work according to the schedule. And before you sign the contract, you are in agreement that you'll be able to do it. If you feel you are not able to do it, that's when you ask for more time. But under contract, now you should be able to deliver it. So that's what we are drafting down in the scope of works. because both of us have had a brief that yes, I think this time is fair, you should be able to deliver it, or according to our need as a company, at least for us not to incur an expense, you should be able to deliver this service or good within a specific time. Obligations of both parties we have talked about initially. Contracts under scope of work, contracts have exclusions, any specific tasks, responsibilities, services that are included in the scope of the work. This helps to prevent misunderstandings about what is expected. Exclusions. For example, if you are providing a medical service and you say, I will not be able to cover chronic diseases, there is an exclusion to that. Yes, I am offering medical services, but according to our agreement, I will not be able to cover exclusion of chronic diseases, maybe family planning. So that is what exclusions are. Under exclusions, we may have to say in case of emergencies or what, I will be excluded from meeting the timeline or that we had initially speculated. Now that we are talking about oil and gas, the government may decide to say we have put a hold. So we have to put exclusions that in case of such events, it excludes me from delivering the activity from the time that we had initially agreed to. Confidentiality. Obligations regarding the protection of confidential information exchanged during the contract period. Yes, we don't need to expose company information to our competitors, most especially now that we have given you access to our offices, our working space. It is prudent that as a professional and a business person, we maintain professionality. Liability and indemnity risk. Terms outlining the liability of each person and conditions for indemnifying each other against claims arising from the contract. Yes, liability are losses. If the contract states that, like for drivers, we have third party, we have, yeah, those are some of the examples. So you are liable for that. Termination. Conditions under which the contract may be terminated by either party, including notice periods and permissible grounds for termination. We outline the conditions under which we may agree to terminate the contract. That is also important. After we have had negotiations, after we have sent you, for example, 2-3 notices of failing to deliver, or after the provider has delivered a good and sent you notices of late payment and you have still failed to deliver, then we agree that the contract may have to be terminated. Scope of work. Under contracts, we also have general conditions. General condition is based on the legal and regulatory framework that governs the public procurement and contracts in the country, typically the Ugandan law. Like I said, under every contract, there are governing laws. Those are the ones we call the general conditions of a contract. That in Uganda, as long as you are operating within Uganda, there are rules that govern contracts. That you should not enter a contract with a minor, 18 years and below. There are also rules, general conditions can be also laws that govern an institution. If you're working with Total Uganda, if you're working with CNOOC, if you're working with Mwesigwa Company Advocates, they may have their own rules that govern them. So under the general contracts, we are stating that this is the jurisdiction. This is usually it applies mostly also under international contracts if like you're going to work within Uganda, you're contracted in Uganda, but the work will continue up to the whole of East Africa. So if you work up to Kenya, if you work up to Tanzania, you need to follow the jurisdiction of the area, or we need to agree what is going to be the binding law for us. Are we using the Ugandan law? Are we using the Kenyan law? Are we using the Tanzanian law, that we are considering that we are working within a wide scope or coverage that covers all the 3 countries? So those are some of the general conditions that would include. If you're working with a government institution, the laws that govern public procurement are under PPDA. So behind, at the back of your mind, you should be aware that if I'm contracting any business with a government entity, these are the binding entity is, the regulatory entity is PPDA, and we shall follow the guidelines under that act. That is general conditions briefly. Under general conditions, we are asking you, you're stating that you comply with the ethical standards of the country or the institution that you're working for. We are still talking about contracts, and we have talked about the agreement, we have talked about the bidder's contract, we have talked about the scope of work where we have special conditions. Under the scope of work, we have also talked about general conditions. That is still part of an agreement. We are trying to break down what is involved in an agreement. So we are talking about scope of work. The scope of work outlines the specific boundaries, responsibilities, and expectations of the parties involved. Criteria for measuring the performance of the parties involved, including quality benchmarks and acceptable levels of service. Scope of work covers geographical scope, something we talked about, area in which you are, the coverage in which you are, the contract will cover. Basically, those are major terminologies in contracts. Some of them, like we said, each contract depends on the parties that are involved and the service that you're going to do and the quality. You find like contracts where involves personnel, we will need to look at their health and safety, which I did not talk about, but it can also be part of the terms that we have to agree upon if we are drafting a contract. So there are different ways and there are different types depending on the different entities. Basically, that is what contracting is about. So now that we have signed the contract and we know what is involved in the contract, how do we manage this contract? This is also another key area where bidding is important. How do we manage this contract? Contract management refers to ensuring the smooth running of a contract. Yes, you have given me the contract. We have signed, we have agreed, we have written down all the papers, we have consulted. How do we ensure that this contract will run smoothly till the end? One is ensuring that you appoint contract managers. On the contract managers are the representatives who will be engaging on both sides in regards to this contract. The company that has contracted you and the provider, we need to have an officer so that not everyone is passing on information. For order and for smooth running, it is important that we nominate responsible persons in regards to ensuring that that contract is running smoothly. What keywords to note is the person should be skilled and knowledgeable in what they are doing. If we are in extracting, it is important that the person who is managing the contractor, if CNOOC has hired a company to deal in extraction, the person that is representing should have knowledge and experience in what they are representing. Contract management also includes negotiation, discussing terms and conditions with all involved parties, finding mutual beneficial terms. Now that we are actually implementing the contract, sometimes things change. The way we anticipated them may not necessarily happen. For example, there's a time we were building we were working with a contractor about construction, and you find the terrain of the area could not sustain what we had initially agreed. So we needed to make adjustments. But it is important for you as a contractor that in case you note such things, you just don't go ahead and say, I will build, because my contract was saying I am supposed to build here. Now this is what I need to do. It is prudent as business people and professionals that you notify, I've been able to find ABC. The contract will come and the entity will come and verify, and then we negotiate, we forge and negotiate a way out. We negotiate around to see how best we can deliver the service amicably. Contract management involves approvals and executions, getting necessary approvals from stakeholders, ensuring all parties sign the contract. Yes, in the contract we are saying phase A should be done within 2 months. When phase A is done within 2 months, bring a certificate of completion, because that is what we have stated in the bid. Before you continue to the next step, have approvals. Let the company that is contracting you first approve that please go ahead. Usually what they do, they come and inspect and see the initial work that you have done. If you are drilling, we come and inspect the quality of work and how you have done it. Is it according to standards? Before you can go to the next step. So in the contract, that's why we had the debriefing area, where the contractor specifically explains to you what their expectations are. And for you to be paid, because now you are executing the contract or the service, just as we agreed, you need to make sure that you meet these key metrics or you meet these KPIs, that at ABC, when you reached that level, you are able to come back to me, the contractor, and I was supposed to give you authorization for you to continue and go ahead with the contract. Performance monitoring, tracking the performance of all parties against the contract terms using metrics, KPIs to assess compliance and performance. We have talked about that. Amendments and renewals, managing changes to the contract as needed, preparing for renewals or extensions before expiration. Yes, amendments and renewals. Amendments are any changes that may happen. And in contracting, we have said this is happens, and we have to plan for it. If there are any changes that we need to make. Also, if there are any renewals, in case we are unable to meet deadlines, you have to write to get back to the person who contracted you. Write, say, yes, we had said 2 years, but according to the work that we have been able to cover, considering that they have been monitoring you, they know that you have been on the job, but as initially planned, that 2 years is a limited time for us to be able to complete this work as we had initially anticipated. So I am requesting for extension, and it is up to this company to say, yes, it is true, according to the project manager, you have been on ground, you have surely worked for the times that we had agreed, we approve the extension. Or it is up to the company to say, no, surely you have not met our expectations, and according to this, due to this, we are not satisfied and will not be able to renew your contract. So contract management is key in procurement because it is what will sell you for the next contract. If you deliver it in a shady way, it is obvious. The person who contracted is already frustrated with you. You have not been able to meet deadlines. You have done unsatisfactory work. Then definitely you will not be able to be renewed. And remember, renewal is not automatic. Sometimes your competitors are also lobbying for the same business. So, as a business personnel, we know these things. You have to meet the standards and keep up to note. Compliance and management. Ensuring all parties comply with the contract terms, addressing any breaches or disputes that arise. Dispute management. Maintaining organized records. Document management. Maintaining organized records for contracts and related documents. Utilizing contract management software for efficiency. We are in an era of AI, we are in an era of using softwares. It's one of the most efficient ways to adhere to company procedures. Let us keep all our documentations. Bookkeeping is important. We had an auditor at the end of the day. The company needs to be audited. So it is also part of contracting. You need to have evidences to the company that you are providing for at the end of the contract. That this is the evidence that, as we stated during this construction, we needed 3,000 bags of cement. I was able to buy this. It is part of accountability and systematic business for you to have documentations rather than just talking about it. Risk management. Identify potential risks associated with contracts, developing strategies to mitigate those risks. Risks in any business are unavoidable. The question is, are they manageable or not? If they are manageable, how do we mitigate them? That is important for every business personnel to assess. The higher the risk, the higher the loss. Remember, in bidding, you have already stated your price, so there is no going back. And you're supposed to provide the service. So it is important that you mitigate all risks at all costs, because they come back to you. And they hit hardly, because they have financial implications. So if the risk is so high, engage the parties that contracted you and seek best ways of mitigating these risks. Reporting and analytics. General reports on contract performance and compliance. Analyzing data to inform future contract negotiations. Reporting. It is always important to give feedback. So contractors don't work in a vacuum. The business personnel has to look for you to know what is going on. Keep updating. It is part of business etiquette and ethics. You have to keep updating, seek approvals, inform your contractor on how well you're doing, for them not to work in a vacuum. Analytics, keep records. That's one of the things that we have emphasized. Those are some of the components that are involved in the scope of work under contracting. So today we are also going to talk about the components of contract management. One of the key issues of contract management is contract handover. Now that we have seen the smooth running of the contract, you got the contract, you have executed the contract, now we have to hand over the contract back to the person that contracted, the organization that contracted you. Handing over a contract refers to the process of transferring responsibilities and management of a contract from one party or individual to another. The process is a crucial situation, such as project transition. Project handover is ideally project transition. You are contracted. In most cases, you have seen international companies handing over these contracts to the stakeholders. For example, government of Uganda, where ministers come and hand over. We see the project and we are telling you this is what we have been able to do. That is when we hand over, and it's usually an official ceremony. Or if it is a service, you're saying, yes, we have served for these 2 contracts, we have been able to provide medical services, and our term has ended. So we're saying we are handing over to the next person, or back the responsibility back to the entity that contracted us as of 30th December per se. In the handover, what is expected? Documentation, of course. Ensuring all relevant documentations, including the contract itself, amendments, associated correspondences, are gathered, organized, drawings, and completed schedules. In handover, we just don't talk and take pictures, but we also hand over documents. We do knowledge transfer. Now that you have put in place, you have installed for us an IT software. How are we going to use it? You should have trained us. Who are the people who are going to manage it? Who will be the responsible officer? At least that should have a stake over the others, that they will be able to manage this software that you have installed for us, or website, who is going to maintain us, who is going to maintain it, such kind of information. Stakeholder communication, informing all parties, internal teams, clients, vendors about the transition and who will be the new point of contact. When you transition, communicate even to your own subcontractors that you had contracted, so that they don't come back to the ground, and keep managing what was already handed over. So we officially communicate that from today onwards, CNOOC Uganda is taking over the extraction of oil wells in the Albertine region, because we have handed over. So we communicate. We can also publicize it, knowing that we are no longer in charge. So contract management is crucial for us as business personnel. Yes, if you fail to manage the contract, it has implications. You have failed to deliver the service, you will not be paid. It has reputational damages. There's costs, loss, financial loss, litigations, and all other effects that may come along with it. That is why we are teaching about contract management, because until you have handed over a project, we have not yet concluded. So bidding and contracting is about managing relations with these people that have given you business, the companies, the entities, the personnel you have worked with, Ugandans. If it needs doing leg work, you are the business people, so you know these things. That is what it involves. Thank you very much for this session.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Lydia. There is the last statement that you said, if it means doing?
Leg work.
Leg work. Okay. That's Lydia for us, and she has been training us about contract management. I think many of you out there have now learned something about contract management. You know how to handle contracts, You know what contracts mean to us, and you know what it means to you as someone managing a local SME. So for now, I see very many of you have sent in your questions. Today, I appreciate that so many people have joined us online, so many people. And Sylvia Mbawa, I would like to appreciate you for joining us. You work with MediPro Diagnostics Limited. Then Kasim Semoju, the best I have seen today, thanks to the team. Maureen Kashemeire, Maureen from 2 Stars International Limited. Very insightful session so far. Thank you. Betty Lee's show. Good morning, beautiful people here. Will there be a recap for us who came in late? Yeah, of course, a recap will be still on. Just subscribe to the YouTube and you will get all this information. The YouTube, these lectures will still be on. Just go on, just go subscribe to this YouTube. Then you'll get all these lectures on. Sharifa Nabuko. Sharifa comes from, is working with Zake Laboratory Supplies. Thank you, Lydia, for sharing vital information. You appreciated. Tiburichu Habib. Tiburichu just wanted to say good morning. And good morning, sir. Mr. Tiburichu. Majezi Steven. What are the implications of contract termination? Those are some of the questions coming in. Before I get these other questions, people have fired you serious questions here. And of course, some other questions are about bidding, but I'll ask them at the end of the show. So let's start with this is Stephen, who is asking about the implications of contract termination.
Contract termination, 99% is never on a mutual basis. So it comes with the fact that usually the termination comes the fact that we have failed to agree. So one of the implications are relationship loss. You have lost a client, or there's no more business in that case. Another issue are litigations, like I have been saying. Most of the cases you find yourselves in court, because when the disputes arise, you begin at mediations. If mediations fail, that is when we go for litigations. So usually when they start with that, you find like the parties are failing, will end up in court. And we very well know the frustrations of court processes and how long they take. It also leads to financial loss, because one party is saying you have failed to meet the obligations. So I am not paying you, or I am paying you less. You have invested time. Those are some of the effects. Reputational damage. The institution loses. As a company, you don't want to be enlisted, for example, on the PPDA website, that you are a company that is non-compliant or that does not deliver or does shady work. And most of the times it's the construction companies, I'm sorry to say. Yes, most especially with works, that's where the issues are.
Okay.
It comes with so much, and so that's where the issues could be. Those could be some of the implications that come along with terminations.
Okay, Lydia, General Eric here. General Eric is very small boy in size, but he really has interest in bidding and contract management. So he has like two questions here. He says, as a small local business, what specific steps should we follow to ensure our bids are competitive? And how do we avoid common pitfalls that may lead to disqualification?
We initially had talked about it, but in general, to still answer you briefly, one of the ways of bidding is to ensure that your bidding goes through, have structures as a company. In the beginning, you might need to invest in as a small business entity because you may not have the expertise in bidding. Consult, look through the bid, read through, see how best you can improve. But ideally, it's about knowledge of what you're doing. Experience, also experience is an important thing. You keep doing it. Yes, the beginning, you might fail because there's always a beginning. I think that's the problem with small entities. You don't want to begin small. You want to dive in with your head. And we know the implications that come with it is your neck might break. So start with your feet when you don't know how to swim. Test the waters by reading, by hiring technocrats that can help you, by having structures as an organization. Create the experience, allow yourself to grow as an institution or as a company because it is part of it. I guess that's it.
Then, what are the common risks associated with contract execution, especially in the oil and gas sector? I know your background may not be oil and gas, but what do you think?
Mr. Michael, I'm an expert in oil and gas.
Okay.
So some of the challenges that Ugandans or companies are experiencing in the oil and gas is not per se that we don't have the experience or we don't know what to do. It's a field that we have not ventured so much into. So experience is the only thing. Ugandans are into extraction, are into welding, are into engineering. It's just that now the scale at which the oil and gas has gone to is bigger. So that's why I was talking about different types of procurement, where we said the threshold, the amount involved. So if we have been dealing with the procurements of $1.5 million, oil and gas has gone bigger. So the expectations are also up. So as Ugandans, we need to get better, look at the wider scale. But otherwise, we have everything that it needs. If it needs training, a little polishing, let's invest in it.
Someone here is asking, are there any capacity building programs specifically designed to help SMEs improve our contract management skills? Joan, it is the reason that's why we are having this training, and it is the reason that's why CNOOC has really paid these consultants to come and teach you. So this is a capacity building. It's a training that was organized specifically for you. So thank you for this question. Just keep on here. You will learn very many other things. So someone here, what are the common risks associated with contract execution? That one I think was answered. Many contracts require financial guarantors or performance bonds. What options are available for SMEs to meet these financial requirements without straining our resources?
I didn't get the name of the
Juma.
Yes, Mr. Juma, thank you for that question. Mr. Juma, performance guarantees, tax clearances, audited books of accounts, financial statements, name it, examples are requirements in bidding. There is no shortcut to it, I am sorry to say. But how do we attain? Is by starting with small procurements as an SME. Procurement has different types of procurement. There is what we call micro procurements. These are procurements of 5 million and below. So before you reach the audited accounts, you can start with the micro procurements. Build a base for your organization. After you have built a base for your organization, after the micro procurements, here you walk into offices, You give your proposal and your quotation. And basically, all they will need is a company being registered. If you are a welder, for example, which is important here in the oil and gas sector, register with the Welders Association. Create your profile, talk about yourself, walk into these companies, tell them I have the expertise. They will start with a 5 million procurement and then go with that. As you grow, as the company grows, the threshold increases to 400 million and above. You keep upgrading. Otherwise, for the procurement, those are the requirements. What you can do is either start small with what you can be able to do for now. The other option is go into partnerships with those that are already doing the work. Since you know very well that you don't have the capacity, learn, build a base, and then maybe you can reach where you want to be.
Some other question here about we often experience cash flow challenges as small businesses. Are there flexible payment terms or schedules available in oil and gas contracts that can help SMEs manage their finances? This is Robert from Noya.
Robert from Noya, thank you for the question. We have banks, we have financial institutions, not necessarily only banks, that can help business personnel in acquiring finances in their businesses. The oil and gas sector supports in giving you business, and it is also looking for competent companies. So one of the ways of showing you are a competent company is by asking for bank statements, bank reports, companies that have the capacity to get credit from banks. So one of the ways is to contact those financial institutions to support your SME, small business, to see how they can support you in becoming a better provider. Another way for Ugandans is also through financial literacy. Not necessarily, most of the times, it's not about you not having the money. It's having the money, but we need the services of accountants, we need the services of financial trainers on how best you can use the resources that you already have to improve your business. I think that's my advice for you.
Okay.
To that.
Okay, thank you, Lydia. Then, in case of someone has a question here, environmental and safety standards are a major focus. How can SMEs with limited resources ensure full compliance in these areas? And are there any government-supported resources available? Is this in line with contract management?
What I can respond in regards to that, one of the sessions is going to be about health and safety, to also talk about environmental practices. But these don't necessarily only need big companies, but also small SMEs.
Okay.
It is a requirement for all of us Ugandans to maintain our environment through small things like dispose of wastes, participating in maintaining the environment, that is the soil, the agriculture, water. So at a smaller business level, because the requirements vary, it does not mean that all the requirements that we have been talking about are a mandate for one to attain business. I will emphasize that these are basics, but are not a rule that you should have all of them. Depending on the category of business that you are participating in or you're bidding for, it will determine the kind of requirements that will be requested of you. SMEs will only be required to submit what's within their categories, depending on the bidding requirements, the type of bidding that you are involved in, and the amount that is thereof. required in that procurement.
Then there is a question also here. If a contract has been successfully completed, what is the process for contract renewal or extension? And how can SMEs position ourselves for continuity in project partnerships? This is Joel Hoima.
Joel Hoima, thank you very much. Contract renewals will basically depend on how well you have performed the previous contract. And definitely, according to procurement, it is up to the institution. If you have satisfactorily done your work, delivered on time, provided quality services, the institution will write back to you. Or you can write officially requesting to provide the service for continuity. That is one of the advantages you stand if you have already won a contract. Continuity is crucial because if you have done it before, we expect you will even be better the next time. So, Joel, you stand a chance. You have to have presentation first to the company that you have previously worked for. Was there another question to what he asked?
No, I think he was just asking how can SMEs position ourselves for continuity in project partnerships?
Yes, SMEs, please have structures. We have talked about these structures that are going to help you be competitive in the bidding world, in the oil and gas sector, in international companies, in multinationals, and in small businesses as well. Structure your business professionally.
And as we sum up with contract management, there are very many people out here. Nakasinde Harriet is asking, who is supposed to issue the certificate of completion? Is it the service provider or the organization that contracted me?
Nakasi, thank you very much. The certificate of completion is awarded by the contractor. But when you finish your contract, you will notify the contractor that we have been successful in completing this procurement, and at the handover ceremony, the company that contracted you will award you a certificate of completion as a proof that surely you have been able to fulfill the required obligations as contracted earlier or as mentioned earlier in the contract. So the certificate of completion is awarded by the contractor.
Thank you, Lydia. We have very many people that followed us here. There is Jovita Mosoma. Jovita says that she's from Nasha Auto Center. She says thank you for the wonderful insights. Wanikani Purity Consulate. Purity is from Zake International Group Limited. She says thank you for sharing. We have Kim Ibrahim. Kim is from JBia Healthcare Limited. He says thank you so much for taking us through. We surely appreciate. Lutalo Muhammad, great presentation live from Beira, Uganda. Wamika and Consulate and inquiry, how can the company get more future bigger contracts?
Contract management. I think it's the key word. If you've got one, manage it well. It's the key to the next one.
Okay. Thank you, Mrs. Lydia. You know, every day things keep getting better, Today we've had quite a number of viewers both on Twitter via Vectra Energies and here on our YouTube. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for following us. Thanks for viewing. Thanks for learning. Thanks for really taking this mentorship as something that is very serious. We have so many other specialists and consultants that will be coming here to train you on various topics, basically to make sure that you people go get money, go get business, do business with CNOOC and other companies in the oil and gas sector. And it is the reason that's why CNOOC had to sponsor this training, which is happening for 2 weeks. This is day 4 of our training. We started with tax, and the consultant was here, Mr. Robert Sendoga, was teaching us about quite a number of issues. And today we have had Mrs. Lydia Magezi Wanyana. She has been here with us. It has been a very insightful training, and according to the comments, I really see you people have appreciated and have really learned something. We shall continue tomorrow. Tomorrow we shall be learning about branding and marketing. Branding and marketing. How do you brand yourself? And how do you market your product? That is something that we'll be learning about tomorrow. Gloria will be here to take you through that. She's an expert in marketing, and she has a very good experience, an experience of something like around 15 years in that sector. So we'll be here tomorrow same time, starting at exactly 9 up to midday. Just be there. You know, branding is a major topic, something that we all need for us to thrive in the market. So I thank you, Lydia. I think let you just say your last statement before I can close the live stream.
Thank you very much, Michael. It has been a pleasure being here on the Enterprise Development Program. As a consultant, it is always a privilege to train and see that what you have trained has been implemented. So Ugandans, thank you very much for listening in, and I know that you're going to implement what we have learned. Thank you for the opportunity that is given to me by CNOOC Uganda and Vectra Energies. God bless you, for God and my country.
Okay. Thank you, Lydia, for being here with us. We thank all our viewers. We thank all our listeners, both on YouTube and those on Twitter. Let's catch up tomorrow, same time. Bye-bye.
The Kingfisher oil fields development has evolved, reaching some significant milestones after CNOOC Uganda Limited and its joint venture partners signed the final investment decision. Land for the construction of different facilities was acquired and compensation was fully made. Cash and in-kind compensation, like resettlement houses for all families, were built and handed over to the project, and construction commenced for different aspects of the project, leading to the development of facilities such as the camps, well pads, the central processing facility, and feeder lines, followed by the delivery of the rigs and installation. Spudding was done in January 2023. There have been promising drilling outcomes, with 7 wells drilled in pads 2 and 3. Drilling operations, coring and on-site works are continuing, achieving total footage of approximately 23,000 meters. Other noticeable activities include a base station and permanent camp, solar turbine transportation, EPC 3 tank erection work, and EPC 4 pipeline trenching. CNOOC will actively promote the LPG integration plan, which will gradually achieve the strategic transformation towards a green and low-carbon energy supplier. A camp integrated hydropower project has been set up, which will result in carbon dioxide emission reduction by 3,156 tons. CNOOC has continued to contribute to the Belt and Road, people-to-people exchanges, enhancing China-Africa friendship and promoting the building of a community with a shared future for mankind. CNOOC collaborates with various Ugandan universities to enhance graduate employment curriculum design and research. We have signed agreements with several institutions to support scientific research and develop talents in the oil and gas sector. CNOOC, in collaboration with 5 other Chinese companies on the Kingfisher project, spearheaded a drive that led to the donation of $500,000 to upgrade the infrastructure of the Entebbe Welfare School. This is the largest donation to education in Uganda.
On behalf of the Ministry of Education and Sport, I would like to extend my gratitude to CNOOC Uganda Limited and the contractors of Kingfisher Oil Fields for your commitment to the cause of vulnerable and challenged children.
CNOOC sponsors international scholarships, sending Ugandan students to study in China. Under this program, a total of 11 students have been sponsored and 8 have since graduated and are currently working in the oil and gas industry.
This scholarship to me is a dream come true. I always wanted to receive a first-class education from a good school, and CNOOC has provided me with this opportunity, this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
CNOOC focuses on training and certification programs for skills needed in the oil and gas industry, which promotes local employment and strengthens Uganda's logistics and industrial capacity. Over 150 contractors and more than 3,000 individuals have been trained in various oil and gas skills. The company collaborates with local vocational schools to provide welder training, significantly contributing to Uganda's professional welding sector.
They took the initiative to sponsor us who are underdogs, and they want to put us somewhere. We thank them a lot. There's nothing much we can give them, but maybe use the skills properly so that they can also feel they have done some impact in the Uganda we have now.
CNOOC Youth Employment Support Program has trained over 350 local youths in various vocational skills, improving their employability and living conditions. These trainings cover welding, heavy truck driving, heavy machinery operation, engineering construction, and other skills needed in the oil and gas field development, as well as driving, tailoring, and hairdressing, among others. CNOOC invests in projects to improve community living standards, such as providing clean drinking water to over 13,000 residents in Buhuka flats, carrying out medical camps and building houses with modern amenities for 56 households. We have also invested $620,000 in maintaining critical roads and enhancing public safety. Livelihood restaurants include donating livestock and teaching scientific breeding methods. We also work closely with the Confucius Institute of Makerere University, supporting events like the Chinese Bridge Competition and the Sound in My Heart Chinese Song Competition. CNOOC also organizes activities to celebrate Chinese culture, such as the Spring Festival. These efforts enrich cultural communication and foster mutual understanding between China and Uganda.
CNOOC Uganda Limited is committed to education and capacity building to fulfill its vision of energy for Uganda.